This is the interview, the Art of Leverage interview with Paul Mack from Pomegranate Commercial Finance. Hi, Paul. So thanks very much for coming on to the Art of Leverage interview. It's great to see you this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about Pomegranate and what it does?
Yeah, I set the business up back in November 2017. So I've been trading now just over 5.5 years. We are an FCA regulated whole market commercial finance brokerage based in Manchester City Centre. So me and the team of 7, we're all based nationally. We're all ex-bank managers. So what we do is we help clients seek funding for commercial finance. So whether it's cash flow, growth, property acquisitions, MBOs, MBIs, structured debt. You know, we sort of come in as being ex-bankers, help look at what they're after and structure the deal and go out to market with it to get them the best deal in the market.
Brilliant. Do you think being ex-bank managers is a big help rather than somebody who just never worked in banking and just coming into commercial finance?
Yeah, 100%. So my background was ex-NatWest for 20 years. So worked through the ranks in the bank. And my latter job was I helped the bank set up the commercial broker channel back in September 15. So worked with people like me for about 2.5 years and decided to hand me notice in and set up on my own in the city. Yeah, I think having the background to banking really helps because, you know, there's been many occasions where the bankers or the banks have written an application because we do it quite old school the way we do it. I'll explain that in a second. They come back and normally says, right, you know, that's fine, Paul, based on the structure, we're happy with that. So we always try and kick the tires, go out, meet the client, understand the business. You know, sometimes the funding bit for me is important, but you know, that's the second part. The first part is getting to know a client, understand the business and know the strategy, the risks, how we mitigate the risks, you know, looking at economic climate, what issues we've had. So Brexit, pandemic, utility costs, you know, staffing issues across certain sectors, skills shortages. So we've got to mitigate all that. You know, we take a really traditional, old school way of structuring deals, understanding it. You know, we're not a transactional broker where someone says, "Oh, Mr. Broker, we need 100k. What can you get?" Actually, send me 2 years account, 6 months bank statement, and see what I get. You know, for me, it's understanding if I'm going to fund your business or get funding for your business, I want to see the return on investment. You know, what profit we're going to make, how that funds can be utilised. So we do it really old school.
So do you think that the fact that you guys know how, because you're ex-bank, how funders would want something written, that it'll be easier for you to get it through than somebody who doesn't have that background knowledge?
I won't say easier. I would say
more likely.
We do a more thorough job. You know, we're honest with clients. In a way, I don't see myself as a broker. I still see myself as a bank manager.
Right. Okay.
So based on, you know, your financials, your performance, your team, your strategy, you know, the contracts that you won up, you know, I will still overview it like I would as a bank manager. And sometimes, you know, there have been certain clients that it's just not viable.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just to throw more debt into business. And you know, for us, it's not about just earning commission. It's about, for me, it's about long-term relationships. So really, that old relationship model, if I feel looking through the financials and feeling that it's just too far gone or it's too much of a stretch, and I'll be honest with clients, just tell them.
Right. Okay. So what's the biggest issues around commercial finance at the moment? Is it interest rates? Is it actual affordability? What would you say was the biggest issue?
Every lender's different.
Right.
So every got different criteria. Yes, interest rates has affected affordability because of the debt servicing stress tests that are now being applied by banks, and I don't just mean high street, I mean your challenger banks as well. But we've already started to see now some challengers and a couple of high streets already starting to reduce the rates.
Right.
You know, because of a lot of them over about say 9-12 months ago have hiked them up quite high, but now actually things seems, you know, from what I'm seeing in the finance market, rates are starting to drop already.
But you don't hear that on the news.
Well, that's the news. I can't dictate the media.
No. So, why should people use a broker and not just go straight to the bank, do you think?
Why do people use a broker? I
always go through brokers for insurance and everything, but
I think you just hit the nail on the head. You know, I do it with insurances, and you know, whether it's with car insurance or with home insurance,
yeah,
it's about getting the best deal in the market. I think sometimes if you're with a bank, they might not have appetite for certain sectors. They might not, or they might offer a lower loan to value if it's property related, or they just don't do cash flow lending for growth.
Right.
So, you know, I think going through a broker, especially one that is whole of market, FCA regulated, is important as well.
Yeah. Because
it is an unregulated market in the commercial world. I think having a broker that knows the market well can get you the best deal. But sometimes the best deal isn't always about pricing. It could be about, you know, what does the lending structure look like? What does the security package look like? What does the LTV look like? You know, if one bank is offering a 10-15 year term and the debt serviceability on a stress test is tight, then you might want to do it over 20 years. Or you might have one bank that want to take a debenture, another bank that might not. You know, again, it's all about understanding the client journey, client growth, what their strategy is, what their short-term, medium-term goals are. And if you're tied into a debenture with a lender, then that might restrict future growth, as in funding to help support the growth. So I think a good broker, working alongside a good broker, can help identify all the other pitfalls that isn't just pricing related.
So what would you say makes you different from some of the other brokers out there, apart from you guys are ex-bank managers?
What makes us different? Do you know what? I don't look at the competition. I don't look at, because I think we do a lot of work with brokers, so we do a lot of broker to broker work, and you know, for me, competition is irrelevant because we will support anybody, and I've always been like that. You know, in my business, and you know, for us, we fill a gap where another firm might not have a certain skill set,
right?
You know, rather than for that other firm to walk away, we'll come in and support them and do fee splits and what we do. What makes us different? You know what? We just
that in itself makes you different. Brokers.
Yeah, and a lot of work. You know, we do get a lot of work from the brokers. You know, and we look after them. You know, and I've always said we treat everybody the same, whether you're a client or an introducer / broker, or you're a lender. Actually, you know, it's important that we look after our lenders as well. As in, we do a proper job. If there's any skeletons in the closet, we highlight it day one. You know, understand what those skeletons are, and we're just honest about it.
Right. Okay. So what do you find inspiring about what you do?
I love helping clients. I know it sounds cheesy, everybody says it, but I do. You know, right. I always find satisfaction, and I've always been like that even when I was a bank manager. Sometimes I've had instances when I was at my previous employers, and credit policies says no, or you know, it's a certain sector, but actually I always like to find a way to help a client. That's really important for me.
So you're not transactional, you're relationship based with
100%. 100%. I say to the team, it's easier to do 10 deals with one client than 10 deals with 10 clients.
Yeah. So what changes do you see happening in commercial finance in the next 12 months, do you think?
I think base rates just gone up again last week.
Yeah.
But in the sort of finance market, we've always talked about it going up to 4.5%. It'd be nice to see that now settle for a bit. Again, I've not got a crystal ball to see what's in the future. I deal with what's now, what's current. I think we're still seeing new players coming to the market. There's been a couple of new banks that have come in.
Yeah.
Are we seeing appetite being withdrawn? I think we did about 6, 7, 8 months ago, but even the high streets now are opening up their appetite because they're beginning to realise that actually we can't stop not lending, because in the end they're a business, their job is to lend money. So, for me, I've also seen a slight change in the types of deals in the market. I've seen a lot of acquisition funding. So I think that's probably partly due to pandemic, established businesses where they've been hit badly, maybe client customers that have been running a business for 20, 25 years, 30 years have called it a day. So we're doing a lot of acquisition funding at the moment.
Yeah, I think the acquisition is interesting because the business model that the people coming through would buy the business from the owners doesn't seem to work that well anymore, because they can't get the funding or are not prepared to put their houses on the line as a...
It's not always about putting houses on the line. I mean, for me, all I've done, most of my career is in commercial. I stay away from people's residential properties. Mm-hmm. It's just how I am. I mean, we did one recently where we funded it 100%.
Right.
But again, we had funny, the client, there was actually an old client of mine at the bank who I've known for years. I bumped into him about 4 years ago, and he left the big corporate as an ops director, and then we probably looked about 12, 13 different businesses, and for some reason some of them fell through. Vendors pulled out last minute, but we did one just over 12 months ago, and again, it's just utilising different parts of the assets, different ways of funding that deal, and we got it 100% funded. But again, it can't be done for everybody. No. The client that bought that business was very experienced in the market. There was 2 of them, one's finance side, one's from the ops side. So I was very comfortable with his experience and background. So yeah, we did that one. I did one last week where it was a skin business, treatment beauty in Manchester City Centre, and on that one, the client just put 10% deposit in, so I funded 90%.
Brilliant.
And that was all, and there was no assets in that one.
Oh, excellent. What if you could give a business owner any advice, one piece of advice, what would that be?
I'm a business owner myself, so I think it's seek help where you can. I think for the last 5 years, I've been in the corporate world for 20 years as an employee. It's taken me a long time to transition from being still thinking like an employee to a business owner, and I'm always, every day's a learning day. I've probably learned more in 5.5 years than I have in 20 years at the bank. But the 20 years in the bank has given me a really good foundation, network. But my knowledge and what I've learned in 5.5 years has been more than the 20. Open to ideas, don't be stubborn. I have challenges with managing people. It's not my strong point, and I listen to people as well. I don't think, I don't have the attitude that it's my way or no way. And I'm open to criticism, being open to criticism as well, because for me, criticism makes me reflect, makes me think about me. And, you know, I've changed for the better, I think, in the last 5.5 years. You know, and just learn.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on this morning. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure you'll reach whatever goals you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you. Thank you.